old school live because it's
Doing it old school.
the cookie stream, which I'm excited about. All right,
Sneaking in.
everyone. Oop. Facebook is giving us the finger for a minute here. All of a sudden, that's great. All sorts of good stuff at the beginning of today. Welcome to my Whiskey Den, your favorite public access whiskey review show where craft whiskey is king. Home of the Fat Boy tasting notes, which we will be invoking this evening. So sorry about everyone over on Facebook. For some reason, there is some type of issue at the last second over there. But go on over to YouTube because that's where all the cool kids are hanging out, anyways. So, all right, everyone. Sorry about that. I hope you are ready for a Christmas cookie pairing, and we're going to save the Mitch's beloved Pfeffernusse for the end just because it has so much grandeur and built up in it. And we have an array of some other things that we're going to try here. Um, I'm going to start with, and because I know Mitch has the same one, is a milk chocolate gingerbread heart with an apricot filling is one I'm going to start with. Um, and I do have some marzipan here, but I'm not having marzipan in the past. I'm vaguely concerned. That's all. Just I'm nervous. I'm nervous about it, but we'll see where this goes. So, and before we go any further, I want to mention I got something in the mail. Well, yeah, the mail today because we can. Um, I got some Island Getaway samples
Yeah, you did.
for January 15th showing we have with them and Richard. Um, who's been on several times. He is associated with them, and there is an array of rums. And what I found neat about them is they're all very reasonably priced. Um, if you're going to try them, I can see how stopping in and getting a taste and being like, oh yeah, I'll take that. So look out for that show. That'll be coming up on January 15th. And
Yeah.
like I said, an array. There's 5 of them there. So
Yeah, it'll be Richard and James the distiller.
excellent.
Yeah.
Got a little more insight there, and how they're doing that at the right cost. So sorry about jumping off track there, but I had stuff all over the table here, and I'm trying to get through some of it. Um, so Mike, what cookie are you going to start with? And did you start your cookie pairings before this evening? Were you narrowing down some options
Yes.
beforehand?
Yes, I was.
Fair enough.
Yes, I was.
All right.
I'm going to start with chocolate Dominoes, which is gingerbread cookies with apple jelly and persipan coated with chocolate from the Winternacht collection at Aldi.
I have a quick question. Is Persipan trying to be marzipan? I mean,
I bet you there's at least 3 people in the chat who know the answer to that, and Emily's probably one of them. She's going to respond with something like, "Hey, dumbass, it's this."
it's this. Yeah, that's fair. I'm hoping someone out there does. Um, as I'm gonna mute this as I take a little bite of my first cookie here. And I'm wondering if you want to talk for a little bit, Mike, about our lovely friends at the Bar Cart Co-op.
I'd like to talk about our friends. We are proud members of the Bar Cart Co-op, which is a collection of friends who create content for the whiskey and other distilled spirits public. The Bar Cart Co-op YouTube and Facebook pages have information about upcoming and past special shows, which happen about every quarter. There are blind tastings, distiller panels, and discussions on special collaborations and the usage of unique grains. Bar Cart Co-op has educational and fun episodes for your enjoyment. The oldest in the group is Distiller's Talk, hosted by Alan Bishop and Christy Atkinson. It is a conversation with people from distilleries and distillery adjacent, getting into the weeds with their interviews. New episodes arrive at the end of the work week. And this last week, there was a rum show, a rum maker in New Orleans. And they are using the old original stills from King County, if you're into that. It was a pretty cool discussion. If that one's not nerdy enough, there's the One Piece at a Time Distilling Institute, where Alan answers questions about distilling and puts them to the test. It could be grains, mash bills, equipment, and methodology. New episodes come out randomly, so subscribe to it. There's also the Bourbon Turntable, where they mix the love of music with the love of whiskey. Kevin and Drew have conversations with musicians, writers, distillery folks, and common folks like us about music and whiskey. It releases every Wednesday on all your platforms, including YouTube. There have been many, many two-part episodes, including there's going to be another two-part episode coming out that was recently recorded, and it had bass player from Sweet Lady, bass player from, I think, Mojo Thunder. Alan Bishop was on there, and a little bass player by the name of Nancy Fraley. And so they talked about, did a little two-parter with that. So that should be really cool. I have no doubt in that. Then there is If You Have Ghosts, You Have Everything, which is a show about spirits and paranormal among us, as well as the unexplained and the spiritual. Subscribe on Spotify to get all 3 seasons. The 4th season has started, and there was a really great episode about just how wonderful human beings can be and their treatment of how they handled cemeteries back in the day. People can be just beautiful. I won't spoil anything there. And last but not least, we have Whiskey in My Ring podcast, which David Levine talks to people that he finds interesting in the industry and is industry adjacent. And David likes to really get into the weeds with his guests. And also he does pretty good reviews of whiskeys and stuff, and has been getting into single barrels and single barrel picks. And we've got some stuff coming up that we're going to be doing, posting our thoughts on 2 of his picks. I think that's everybody.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
The chew into the mic episode. I'm so looking forward to this.
There we go. Well, there you go. Look at Spence making us feel stupid.
It is. I'll just be on mute most of the time, Mitch. It's okay. So
we should put the microphones closer to our mouths. Do a total AMSR episode.
Do you have a cat?
Yeah.
Because they would attack your speakers. Okay.
I'm kind of hoping for it. So I jumped into the milk chocolate one with a little bit of apricot fruit filling in it. I went. Go ahead, Mitch.
I was going to start with that one as well.
Okay.
Wow, you guys been shopping together.
Well, you got to do a little.
Quick little Aldi trip to Wisconsin.
Gotta see what the locals have.
You never know; it could be different.
They can be different.
We have 3 different stores in Green Bay, and they are all different, as is the clientele to each one.
Yeah, there's one Aldi. They're really close. There's 2 really close to me, and one of them has a large amount of Christmas stuff that is all over by the cash registers in a little nook. And then the other one that's by me has like an end cap, and then the aisle that has the weird seasonal stuff, but not nearly as much as the other one. So crazy. Okay. All right.
I went with some whiskeys that I had here that I had enough of to go through and taste, along with a couple other ones that I threw in last second. But as far as like a bourbon representative, I went with Old 55 Sweet Corn, as who's participating this evening. Rye, and a little J. Riegers because they were on. I still have a little bit of that left. So I put them in there with a little bit more spice. And for a malt, particularly with this one, thinking what was going to happen, a little Kilkeegan unsmoked malt is what's going in that one. And I do have 2 other flyers out here, just because of their full flavor profile is a dry fly 8-year and the MB Roland Dark Fired Those might be sneaking in later on to make their own opinions, just because I think they might be a little heavy-handed with their flavors. So
Fair enough.
So with this one, I am actually being mildly pretentious. And this is the one I am pairing with cognac. So I originally tried pairing it with a bourbon, and then the Vistula from Toledo Spirits, because that had a lot of like chocolate and coffee notes in it. So I was like, okay, well, this is chocolate covered, so maybe the chocolates will really go together well. They didn't. The apricot was the dominant flavor to me, so I had to kind of switch and try and find something that worked with apricot rather than like with gingerbread or chocolate. And cognac goes really well with apricot.
I'm just going back through it one more time, though. Right away, I thought that there was a clear winner, just because what you said with the apricot flavoring. The Old 55 being the sweet corn just kind of adds more to the sweetness. You don't have a lot of barrel note in that compared to other ones. It just kind of makes it a little more, almost too sweet to an extent. The Rieger, the spiciness when having between them adds a neat layer, but the Kilkeegan unsmoked malt, just with the honeysuckle and almost like a little bit of a apricot and like a lighter white wine note, like getting the chocolate and the more pronounced apricot with this, just really this one's kind of blows it out of the water. I was going to say for this one, this really jumps out for me. Kind of more, like you said, with the cognac, not heavy, a little more playful with some of the fruit notes.
So for me, right, the cognac's pretty good. Surprise, surprise, the dominant fruit note is grape. When you pair it with the apricot, though, it switches. So all of the fruit notes you get from the cognac switch to apricot when you drink it. So instead of this really lovely, kind of traditional cognac ride, you're on this kind of weird apricot gentle transition type thing where it's just fun.
Oh man, yeah, I'm feeling very a little diabetes coming on through this episode.
There's going to be a little bit.
So I'm just coming to terms with it right now. It's going to be overload.
Yeah.
So
I had that problem the next morning after the old fashioned. There was way too much sugar consumed.
Yeah, especially like that late at night.
But I would argue there's going to be less sugar consumed tonight than with the 3 old fashions that we had.
Oh, yeah. You can usually get this down to a cookie or two by the time you're going through it to knock it out. Now, doing it with the dry flies single malt, theirs is more of a dusty leather-bound books, dark chocolate, a couple other fruit notes. So mixing it in, it's a different play on it, and both are kind of neat. But I think for me, the apricot and the malts work the best between the whiskeys that I've had. And I did have a try a couple other ones before this evening, but I thought I don't want to say I found it was odd, but I found malts to play well with this the best.
I can absolutely see that. Right.
Especially if you had a little chocolate malt in the whiskey already or something like that too. Mm-hmm. That seemed to be a little underlying play because that was with a couple of them. But the Kilkeegan, for being a brighter, lighter whiskey comparatively, I thought just the layering worked out extremely well between them. They worked out well. So it was a nice pairing. And I got to save some of this for some of the other ones, unfortunately. But damn, it's a good combo.
So are you starting with the Dominoes, Mike?
I am starting with the chocolate Dominoes. Sorry, I forgot one of my other whiskeys is going to try. So the Winternock chocolate Dominoes. These bad boys right here. So what I ended up going, because what I wanted to try, which I don't have, because believe it or not, I don't have some whiskeys. I would have loved to try Cold Keegan with the sexy smoke. I have 0 Cold Keegan. One that I really, really, really would have liked to try with this was anything from Deer Hammer because of that chocolate malt and that beautiful chocolate malt off of Deer Hammer. That is just beautiful. But I did try. I thought, oh, I have something else that has chocolate malt. So with these chocolate Dominoes, because I got the Charles Ballard, which is one of the barrel series, and it is chocolate malt and corn. And so it's a corn whiskey, but there is a definite chocolate note from that chocolate malt on there that comes across in the sweetness of the corn. The thing that got me about this, now again, these chocolate Dominoes, they are gingerbread cookies with apple jelly and Persipan, which, as Spencer let us know, is similar to marzipan, but maybe not as pretentious. And it's coated with chocolate. What I would have also loved to have tried this with was hazmat apple brandy, of which I am out. And I didn't want to try it with the tequila finished apple brandy because I just thought that would be too much. So in trying these, what I have gotten every single time I've had one of these little nuggets with this is, and I'm going to go ahead and have it. I'm not going to do it right up against the microphone. They are bite-sized, by the way.
I mean, anything's bite-sized if you just really...
Well, this is true. But there's a really interesting fruit filling on this that is not like apple jelly. It is more like, it tastes more like apricot. But having this Charles Ballard, this is why, after I tried it, I thought, and this is why I like it, because this would be fun to give to other people. Have my little sip of Charles Ballard. Which again is corn and chocolate malt. It makes the ginger jump out to where you would think you're drinking a rye. It's very, very interesting that way. Because the Charles Ballard is not, I mean, it's just, it's a fine whiskey, and there's nothing wrong with it. And it's another well done thing from our friend Alan. But it's corn and chocolate malt, and you have it with that, and it tastes like you're having a rye.
It's a heck of a step to the side. Adding that punch if you're not expecting it.
Yes. And I think that's what I thought. Now that's fun. Because it wasn't, I tried to go down other roads with it. And one I do want to go just because of the sweetness factor, and I am going to go back. I haven't paired it with all these, but I kept thinking, do I want to do it? But I'm afraid of doing it. I'm going to have OCD 5 with all of these.
Oh man, I thought about pulling that one out.
And this is just the standard OCD 5, not the premium. But because if you've had OCD 5, you know. So I'm going to pour a little bit of that because I'm going to go back on all these as I go through. But yeah, I after having the Charles Ballard, I had a couple other things with chocolate malt. Wasn't really the same. That was just fun because it's like, that's not a rye, and it tastes like a rye now. And I just thought that was a fun little trip.
Can eat rye. I like that.
Yes.
All right. Now the question next is, I have like a weird marzipan bite thing for my next cookie.
I got those as well, but I don't like them, so the pairing sucked. So I'm probably not going to do it.
You don't have to. You can give your opinion maybe a little further than what you said. I'm going to take a bite and maybe this goes south right away. We'll see.
So I'm going to be 100% honest. So this is a marzipan Stollen bite. And Stollen is just the German word for fruitcake. And these are very dry and not super flavorful. So you're basically eating powdered sugar covered dry cake with a little bit of marzipan and a few like bits of fruit in it. And I've definitely had better things, like Pfeffernusse. So I'm going to be really excited for more Pfeffernusse and not give myself extra diabetes with the marzipan Stollen.
Was there one that you liked better than, or was there one that just reacted poorly with this in particular?
Not really. I think it was just how depressed I was the entire time after eating those Stollen. And I was just like, this is really bready. And I tried going like Irish with it, seeing if I could like turn it into, get the like shortbread to pair with the cake. And that didn't work. And then I tried like a couple finished whiskeys, trying to get, you know, like the fruit notes from the finishing to see if they would accentuate. But every time I went back, I was just like, man, this is just kind of dry, crappy cake. so it was just like, I don't.
It is sucking up a lot of the moisture that's left in your mouth. At first, I thought it was gonna be okay, but now, like after a few bites in, I've come to agree with you. It's maybe too much powdered sugar.
I don't know what it is.
And the middle
right.
needs a little more something. Like you said, unfinished. It doesn't feel like it's quite baked enough.
It's just, yeah. Because I had it to do it, and I took a bite out of it. I don't know if you can see. And I just immediately got sad. Especially after being so excited about Pfeffernusse.
Okay. If you have Glens Creek OCD, go get it. I'll wait for Mitch to come back. I know he has it.
I'm gonna agree with Mitch. No one's a winner with that cookie. Nobody wins. Ugh. I don't have it up here. I brought it downstairs. I might have to go get cantaloupe cream liqueur.
Yeah, see, I made a point to not do that. And so when I first found the Pfeffernusse, I was posting to you guys. It's like, oh, I tried it with this. I tried it with this. I tried it with this. And it was fine, except for the problem is between the Pfeffernusse itself, and everything that I was trying, I was just wrecking my palate, number one, and I was just getting a buzz out of it. And it really wasn't getting any real information out of it. But I wasn't doing the natural spirits cleanse, and I wasn't doing the, anything else. And I wasn't going to do that with any of this either. I was going straight up. Okay. So the OCD 5, it turned the chocolate Dominoes into a pie. The butteriness of OCD 5, and it's got the butteriness and that richness of that whiskey, turned that cookie into a pie. I've had 2 of those cookies now and a second pour of the OCD 5 with it. I still stand by the Charles Ballard being fun, just because of what it did to that whiskey. And it didn't matter whether I had the whiskey before or after. It was just, but it was more prominent after. But yeah, that OCD 5 is pretty darn good.
Yeah. I'm angry I ate that cookie. I didn't think Mitch was going to be that right about that, especially after my first bite. I am not thrilled. No. Nope, no one wins with that marzipan thing. Don't get that. Maybe if you want to try marzipan, just get a little bar of it instead. Don't get that cookie's not good. I don't think my dog would eat it.
You don't have
it. Yeah, well, I have friends that have dogs. Sean's got a dog. I don't know if Moose would eat it. He eats anything. He'll hop on the counter for it. There's a weird lingering aftertaste.
Well, I didn't say it was going to work for yours. It definitely worked for mine.
Oh, that is some weird shit. It's still going.
I'm sure it is. I could only imagine overlaying with that number of things.
What
And
the-
I don't know if it turned out well.
I don't know yet either. That's the thing.
Well,
Like,
it's just getting expanded. The time frame of it being okay is better.
it was bad, and then it was good, and it was weird, and it's still weird. So
All right.
make Glens Creek pretty darn good. I ate my little apricot filled chocolate cookie because I figured that was the closest thing I had. Glens
Yeah.
Creek tasted like nothing but smoke.
It's interesting.
And then it started to taste like regular Glens Creek, which is delicious. And now it tastes like some unholy child between apricot filling and Glens Creek. And I can't figure it out.
It's a weird
I think I like
combo.
it, but it's that's weird. That is just it's just
All right.
I don't. It's still going, by the way. Like I still taste Glens Creek and apricot.
I'm intrigued, Renita. As long as they're moist, usually they can be good. It's just a grand scheme of fruitcakes, and it's kind of like gin. Most people are used to that pine saw one. You're used to getting that one that was from National Lampoons. Kinda just all not quite right fruitcake, or the epitome of the wrong side of it. All right, Mitch, I know you got the trifecta of cookies here. I'm gonna try just.
So these are my second favorite cookie from Aldi, with their amazing name of soft gingerbread, iced and chocolate covered gingerbread on wafers cookie.
Want to do that again, Mitch?
This is the soft gingerbread, iced and chocolate covered gingerbread on wafer cookies.
Very nice. Do it three times. Three times the charm, Mitch.
This is the soft gingerbread, iced and chocolate covered gingerbread on wafer cookies. Right?
Oh,
I would probably guess yes, Neil.
Oh my god, I can imagine that goes really well.
Mm-hmm.
okay, Mitch. Which way are you going? Are you going the frosted or the chocolate side first?
Chocolate. Oh,
First.
the
Okay. I'm gonna go through this quick, Mike. Where are you headed to with your next?
My next one is also Winter Knocked from Aldi, and this is and I'm going to butcher it, and I don't care. This is the Edel Marzipan Baumenstam Nougat, which is milk chocolate marzipan log filled with hazelnut praline. And it is a handsome cookie.
Wow. Oh, boy.
You're diabetes.
I've had these cookies though, Emily, and the sugar on the chocolate is high. So it's not so much chocolate as I think it's just a hard sugar chocolate flavored coating, in my opinion.
That's not a bad answer.
Also, if you're Catholic, the on wafers, like communion wafers, like that is what this bit is right here. Like it is razor thin and tastes like sin, I guess. So, like
Yeah.
it is
Well,
oddly delicious.
Bless you, my son. Neil had him and he put him back.
So I will 100% admit these are not for everybody. And my palate is different than everybody else's. So maybe a good thing you put them back.
Very well could be. This is
But the thing I remember you pointed out first was the cost. Cost per cookie was high.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't disagree with that. And I think, especially if you got someone else around, split a cookie with somebody. Because it's a good sized cookie.
You could easily have enough to sample through with that much.
Oh yeah.
Cookie wise, between these two right off the bat, the frosted one I'm a much bigger fan of than the chocolate one.
So the frosted one is more vanilla flavored, right? So the chocolate one does actually have kind of that fake chocolate flavor.
It almost seems like it's a little Debbie chocolate on top.
Yeah,
the thing that goes around the Swiss cake roll, but a thicker version of it. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not knocking that, obviously, because I love the Swiss cake roll, but this might have needed like a frosting layer to make it.
So I think it's one of those things where I'm just a bitter old man, and I like bitter old chocolate instead of sweet vanilla icing these days.
Renita, there's other places that have some of these, especially the Pfeffernusse.
Trader Joe's has these as well.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Aldi makes smaller ones of these that come in like, a cookie tray.
Mm-hmm.
They're $1 more, but you get like, 20 cookies that are small instead of 6 really big ones.
All right. I'm going to end up in trouble tonight.
I don't like the cookie with the frosted one. Rieger's a little spicy. Out of the 3 originals, the old 55 I like with the frosted one. But I'm going to tell you the dark fired corn from MB Roland actually works even better with it. That was fucking neat. That combo was really cool. I like that combo probably the best of what I have here. But out of the original 3 was the old 55 for sure out of those 3. The smoke adds just this neat torque to it, like almost a little like the roasted part to it. It does a great job. Chocolate one, we'll see here in a minute. I'm having problems getting that one moving. I really am starting to get overwhelmed a bit. Oh, well, look at this here. That would make sense. I'm cool. I'm okay with that.
Yes. They unfortunately don't have the same things.
No. Okay, hold on here. Yeah.
Although my daughter did tell me, and I thought I might have brought this up. I don't remember. She said she was she goes to Trader Joe's a lot, and she's like, they have these cocktail cherries here. They're supposed to be really good cherries. I can't remember what they're called, but they begin with an A. I said Amarena cherries, and she said, yeah, they had them for $5 for a jar. She goes, do you want any? He's like, I don't need any, but
yeah,
you got me some. I wouldn't be offended, but I don't need any. I don't know if that was all over at Trader Joe's or just happened to be at ours, but it's like, I don't need any cocktail cherries.
No,
I already have.
Once you have them, they're easier to use, and also cocktail cherries also very good in ice cream. Just saying.
Oh, okay.
If you're having a little ice cream, the normal maraschino toss in there, it really adds a nice kick. So. Mitch, what are your thoughts? Is there one you like so far of those cookies?
So pairing wise, the vanilla iced sugar goes better than the chocolate one. I am pairing with my bluegrass toasted barrel single barrel, and it's just fabulous. So it tones down kind of the leather earthy notes a little bit. And then depending on whether you do the iced or the chocolate, the iced finishes, for lack of a better term, sparkly. Like there's just this little effervescent note at the end where you're just like, oh, that lifted off the palate. And the chocolate does the polar opposite. Instead of like lifting up, it's just like, ooh, that got dark right at the very end. And yeah, I quite enjoy that.
That's a good explanation of it, but I like the frosted one better too. And like I said, uniquely with that dark fired corn, not really. Yay. Okay. That put me back on track here. I was getting concerned. Thought I was just gonna end up with a stomach ache at the end of the day. But
Hopefully,
there's two good ones.
Buzz too.
Well, most. I don't know. There's one of the shows recently where I had to like at the end. It was one of those ones like half an hour after we got off the show, everything settled in. I was like, holy shit! I guess I'm drunk. I didn't see it coming. I haven't been doing anything in a while, but it all added up apparently. That's where we were started drinking too much of those 2-ounce samples, and yeah. Go down. You can start if there's that much in a glass. You can, and you're going back and forth. You can start having a whole lot inside of 45 minutes.
So when y'all send me things, like this is the 1 ounce Golden Beaver grappa, and you can't quite see, but there's half left, because if I try and have a full ounce of all samples every time we do this, I very quickly lose my job.
That bluegrass, I thought about that, and the problem with the bluegrass is because of that being a single barrel, it's like, of course, there's probably still some there.
There is. They put it on sale.
How much is it on sale?
I think they dropped it from like 60 to 51. So not like an insane amount, but
yeah, but
close to 20%.
Helpful. It's helpful.
Helpful.
Helpful. Very helpful.
I'm not gonna say I
picked
picked
in the 40s.
A couple more.
No, I don't need any more. I'm on a purchasing hiatus. All right. We got, which actually you should look them up. Look up Golden Beaver on Facebook, because it was actually really cool. There were some golden beavers released into the wild that they've been waiting for to happen. And I know that was really super important to Chris and Marianne, and it happened, and it was cool. And they were a part of making that happen, with the golden beaver contributing a lot of money to the conservation of the California golden beaver.
Mm-hmm. And also, Donald, they did run into that once they first opened. They got past the hurdle of other meanings for the name.
Well, as they said, right off the bat, they decided, okay, we have to lean into this.
Because it also means something else in America, right? Not just Canada.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Did y'all ever see the Naked Gun movies?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I watched those as a child, right?
Oh, sure.
Right.
Of course.
So whenever he meets What's-Her-Face and she's handing things down to him, and he's like, nice beaver. And she's like, I just had it stuffed. And hands him down like the stuffed beaver, right? Like as a kid, I was like, I know this is a joke, because like my dad and mom are like laughing and giggling, but I don't get it. I haven't watched those in a long, long time, and I feel like I really need to.
You should. They're also in that same scene. He's like, hey, that's a honey of an ankle bracelet you got there. And she goes, oh, did that thing fall down again? Where did it fall down from?
I remember laughing at that as a kid, because I was like, that doesn't make any sense.
I just love it. The Police Squad TV show, when my kids were old enough, was like, you have to watch this. And then, we had found the DVDs, I think, from the library and got people to, or got it to where we could watch it. And so I showed my kids, and my son right off the bat got the humor. And I remember my youngest was just like, I don't get any of this. And then when she got older, she watched it. She's like, that's just weird. But I love, one of my favorite things in that one is there's the guy, Al, who is like 9 feet tall, and you only see like him from here to here on the TV show, and he's always out of frame. And one of the times you see him, and he's got a banana, and he's going up, and it goes up out of screen because he's taking a bite, and he goes up out of screen. And George Kennedy goes, hey, Al, you got a little something on the side of your mouth. And he goes, no, the other side. And this piece of banana like this long comes flying down from on top of the screen.
So, okay, I'm sorry. Derailed this.
Yes. And Neil, you are not wrong. Yeah. I had a nice conversation with actually back and forth with David Meyer today. So just about their stuff. Hoping to get them back on again. Okay. So this cookie, which again is the Edel Marzipan Baumenstam Nougat milk chocolate marzipan log filled with hazelnut praline. My choice that I had with this one, because I was looking at something that would be thick and coating, so I went with a Lone Elm single barrel wheat. And what it did with this is it brought so much more vanilla out of this Lone Elm. It is just absolutely delicious. I highly recommend always, if you want to get wheated whiskey, there's a lot of them you should get, but you should not sleep at all on Lone Elm, especially a Lone Elm single barrel, because trying to narrow your products down. What do you make and what do you make well? Wheat whiskey, and they do a damn good job of it. But yeah, it brought out just so much more vanilla of the whiskey, and it was just a really nice pairing. And it was very interesting because the Lone Elm is not. It doesn't have the heavy vanilla, but I think it's more of what it's doing to melt and attack the nougat and marzipan. And then that praline, that was the thing. The nuttiness on the end of it was really cool. I mean, what it did, it was it was just like a little bit of nut on the end that wasn't there before, and I really enjoyed that. Now with the OCD, I'll have to say I did take one bite again, and I'll do it again. It was a little different because there's so much butteriness. I should chew right next to the microphone.
You gotta lean into it.
I'm not going to do that.
And then gargle.
Gargle whiskey.
Just OCD 5.
OCD 5 and a little cookie.
Never. Never. But it turned that nougat into like a buttercream frosting with like little nut crumbles on it. It's really pretty interesting. Hands down, Lone Elm was the better choice, and the OCD was largely inaudible to try with all these things, but this Lone Elm wheated with the nougat and stuff. Again, these cookies, and if you got a Lone Elm, try it. I highly recommend it.
Very nice.
So I wonder who made your Lone Elm, because when I went there, like the owner and the distiller were there, and like they had very different like flavor profiles they went for when they were distilling. So
I suppose they're
then they blend the back and collaboratively.
So what it really is the owner blends, or when he distills, he makes his cut not based off of what's coming off of the still from hearts to tails, but off of what's in the tank. So he'll taste the tank, and when it's like, yep, I can taste the tails coming through the tank, he switches. But his distiller tastes, coming off, and he's like, we're getting too tailsy now, he switches. And I really like a lot of the flavors that come through on tails, but my palate is weird. So like when I went down there, their single barrel was done by their distiller. And I was like, hey, this doesn't have like that same like small batch flavor you've got. And he's like, oh yeah, this was the distiller, not me. And I was like, oh, how interesting. So I'd be interested to know who did yours and whether it's like the, you know, kind of more hearts cut or the little more tails cut.
I think when I've had them, maybe a little more tails cut from the ones I've had from them.
I really like that. So, sorry,
No, we love information, Mitch. Don't stop that shit.
Yeah, I think it'd be fun to go down there and go visit them. And I'd heard, well, one of you might have had it, but who had it? Matt at Whiskey Crusaders was talking about this, as was the Licorice Brothers. Lone Elm had a single barrel that they had done that was about as black as you could get, and I don't doubt that whatsoever. But like, this is a one-off thing, and they all had it, and they were just like, "Oh my god, it was thick and black."
So the time I went down there, somebody was doing a barrel pick down there, and they just like didn't put on their website like, "Hey, closed for a barrel pick." So I just showed up and was like, "Can I do like a tour, or y'all basically closed?" And they're like, "F it, come on in," right? So I did a tour, and of course there's like 30 people there hanging out doing a barrel pick, and they're all sharing bottles. So I brought some bottles out, and one of them had like a black barrel, and he was like, "This is like a way old Lone Elm," and he was like, "Try it." I was like, "That doesn't look good." And he's like, "Try it anyway." Interestingly, I was Scottish, and he gave it to me, and I was like, "That is like being assaulted by an oak tree rather vigorously." And he's like, "Isn't it though, right?" And I was just like, "Yeah, thank you." And he's like, "Yeah, no one likes."
Well,
And I was like, "Well, why don't you?" I brought some scotch if you want some of that. And he was like, "Absolutely not. They don't know how to make it." And I was like, "You're Scottish. What the hell?" Right?
Neil wants to know if anyone got wettled that day.
Not by me. They had enough to get wettled themselves.
That's not bad. All right, I'm switching on to the Pfeffernusse, the grand champion of everything that Mitch was talking about. I ate one a little bit ago, and I think it is, out of what I've had this evening, it may be my favorite cookie. I think it has a little more depth in the gingerbread realm, or at least the one couple I had. It has a little more like a burnt edge to it, and the middle is a little bit light and really fluffy. Between all three of these, I did not have, because I had another rye up here too. Ryes didn't do well, and I thought they might have done better with the gingerbread aspect of it, but no, not really. Old 55 on this one was okay, not very good. In general, it didn't stand out. And the Cole Keegan was nice on this one. I like that little bit of a lighter honeysuckle play on top of everything was nice. But the dry fly one is on this one is the one that I like the best with it. Just because it added a couple more dark, like date notes to it that I thought played well with it. So that's where I ended up going on the ones I had in front of me. So, what did you think of the great Pfeffernusse? Which I can see how you could eat a bag of those not paying attention.
Oh, which one is
I went with
that?
"I Would Rye for You."
Oh.
That was a good choice.
So easy to read. Thanks to the player. "I Would Rye for You." Right, MGP finished in, what is that, port?
Yes.
So
Solera MGP finished in port.
very good. Wildly different. So it pulls a lot of the port out and really accentuates the baking spices in the rye. So very good.
Okay, I'm getting my 3 pours because I have 3 that I went to with the Pfeffernusse, which is another reason why I say it's going to get wrecked. Because so when I first did the Pfeffernusse pairings, I was just running through stuff and they were just kind of like, just getting numb after a while. And so then I went back and I was looking at the ginger and some of the other ingredients that were in Pfeffernusse and trying to see, okay, well, what would really, what's going to pair with this as far as spice wise with ginger? And one of the things that I saw was obviously if you had anise or coriander, it's like, oh, gin. So I'm going to try some gins. So one of them that I got was this nice Irish pot still gin, Ha'penny, or I know I'm mispronouncing it, and it's fine. But it is a really nice gin. I do enjoy it quite a bit. For anyone looking for is a Dublin dry gin, pot still, distilled in Ireland, in Dublin, 41%. And it lists a lot of the stuff off the side of it. And 13 botanicals, a little high for what I would normally pick. Juniper, blackberries, dandelion flowers, lavender, geranium, orange peel, lemon peel, cracked black pepper, anise, angelica root, licorice bark, coriander, and cassia.
I like most of it in there.
Again, I would, if you would have said, hey, have this gin with 13 botanicals, I would go, yeah. I tried the gin first, and then it was like, oh, and it has that many botanicals in it. I have to say, if you don't know what Pfeffernusse tastes like at this point, then I don't know what to tell you. But Pfeffernusse with the gin, there are live tasting notes. The hardish sugar coating and that ginger, and then that gin. It knocks the gin down. You lose some of the botanicals. It becomes extremely refreshing. That's what I thought was very interesting. And it brings out the citrus notes in the gin a lot. Mm-hmm.
And those were the botanicals when you're going over them. Like there was a bunch of citrus, and that's where I thought I might lean into this more because I do like a lot of citrusy notes in flavors in general.
For the gin itself, though, I thought this is gonna go really go well, or it's gonna go really bad. And at least choosing with this one, I didn't want to do the standard Death's Door or Rieger, which is the 2 with coriander that I do keep on hand. And I went with this one because I thought, okay, with these other flavors, I wonder what it's really going to do. And it really did take a lot of the botanicals out and knock the ginger down. But it's funny how it brought that citrus up on there. Really enjoy it. A couple years ago, never would have said I'm going to have gin with a pairing. Mitch, what are you doing?
I'm trying something. I'll let you know how it goes here in about a minute and a half.
All right. I'll do my other ones. When I was going through the flavors of different ones that I wanted to try, I was looking at what paired with ginger, and I was like, well, some rye whiskeys. And how about some rye whiskeys that have some balls to them? And I wasn't looking at proof so much as I was looking at ones that were had a punch to it, like a Maryland style, or something. Just a different kind of, just a flavor punch to it, not so much a proof punch. Just so happens both of these are single barrels, but the two that I chose to do with as far as rye, I did try a third one. I will say I tried it with Dad's Hat, which is a single barrel pick, and it's 64.5, 65%. And it didn't pair very well. And because it has more of a proof punch than flavor punch, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But the two that I went with were this Tattersall single barrel, that Tattersall rye, similar effects, but completely different for reasons. Excuse me, an Old Potrero rye single barrel pick. Old Potrero has got a great funk flavor to their rye, and I really, really like it. Between the two of them, though, it'd be really hard to pick. But these two styles with the Pfeffernusse, I'm going to have it again with both of them. I did save some Glens Creek, so I'll have a little bit of that because I'll try it, because I did not try Glens Creek with any of this stuff. But these two, with what they did for the flavors of these, I'll wait till after I do it. So I'll let somebody else talk.
Neil, sorry.
No, go right ahead.
Neil, I just tried what you were talking about. The cookie almost fades into the whiskey. The tough thing about the cookie on these seems to be like the sugar overloading and kind of coating and sticking around afterwards.
Oh, shit.
The Darkfire has a nice way of kind of edging that out a bit. They're kind of taking that sweetness out on the end of this. And that leaves just a nice note. See, I like that with the frosted covered one, and I do like that with this one here as well, too. This is a bit different than what I was saying with the dry fly one I had, where that one adds more flavor that stays inside the cookie realm. This almost takes, like you barbecued a Pfeffernusse. Like you heated it up on the grill with a little bit of like a little bit of leftover fat that's on the grill grate from some things. You get a little bit of that with this combo.
Mm-hmm. That'd be good. I stayed away from having any smoked stuff. I didn't want to totally ruin myself. So these ryes, or if you got anything comparable to these ryes, it made the Pfeffernusse sweet. What it did for the Tattersall, which what I liked about it is it kind of toned the Tattersall down a little bit, but then added a sugar sweetness on the back end of it, pairing that together.
Okay.
With the Old Potrero, because the Old Potrero is, I like it, and it's I've given it to people. It's like, oh, you need to try this. You need to try this, or even just really any Old Potrero rye, but trying this one, you try that, and they're like, because it's kind of like people's reaction with brimstone, like if they haven't had it, it's just, I love that about Old Potrero, but it also, again, it knocks the Old Potrero back, and the ginger gets knocked way back out of the Pfeffernusse with both of these, almost where it's non-existent. But then on the Old Potrero, it just has like a really nice herbal finish on it, as opposed to funk. But then at the end, then a little bit of the funk comes in. It's very, very interesting. That I was glad I decided to read and look up stuff. And then when I looked up, I was like, oh, well, I think these two would be good ones. They were great to have with the Pfeffernusse.
Well, nothing wrong with a little bit of research. You can't.
Who knew you could learn from reading?
Are you from America?
Nobody told us that.
What part of Europe are you from?
I did grow up in Iowa, where there's a reason it's called the Iowa Basic Skills Test. However, that was many years ago.
Or like the JFK, like physical skills test he used to have.
Duck.
The No, those were like legit things. Like it was okay to be like good, but to be like considered great was like doing an inverted hand, like 12 inverted handstands or something, or like 34. It was like ridiculous, whatever the numbers were. I was like, holy fuck, like, yeah, I was in shape at one point, but man, she just zoomed in on Mike's face.
Oh, these are there's such a difference in the finish of these, but the Tattersall, you get that the heavy herbal root rye taste out of it, and then it's just sweet, just sugar sweet right on the end of it.
So I probably read the same list Mike did, and there was something I wanted to try that I completely forgot about, and then when he said it again, I remembered. So anise, anatols, absinthe. Holy shit, this is the pairing for me. Like this blew, like I would rye for you, but this blew that out of the water.
Well,
it pulls all the licorice out of the absinthe and lets you taste every other botanical in there.
Okay. I'm going to do that last because I just happen to have a bottle sitting right here.
That's what I needed to do.
After I have the OCD.
So, whoops, I should have remembered.
I never, ever thought about absinthe.
I was, because I didn't think about gin at all. Because I was like, coriander, man, I don't know who has coriander. And then I was like, anise. I was like, man, anise is in absinthe, or anatols are in absinthe. Like, that's what makes it taste like licorice. And I was like, all right, I'll have to try and find my fascination street. And of course, I can't find my fascination street because, like it's all just back there, or over here, or there, or way over there, and
upstairs.
I think I brought most of it downstairs now. But oh yeah, go ahead.
No, please go ahead. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have done that.
So yeah, so I have Midsummer's Night Absinthe Vert by 451 Spirits. It's a little much for me on the licorice notes, but when I have a Pfeffernusse with it, it tones it down, and I just taste everything else. All right,
nice.
Okay, you have OCD 5, right?
I do, yes.
Okay. And Neil, I know you have OCD 5. I don't know if I know you do have Pfeffernusse. Try the OCD 5 with the Pfeffernusse.
Is that what this was about?
Yeah, because I got a very specific flavor on it, and I tried it a second time, and like, damn it. I'll wait for you to do it, and then I will tell you what I taste.
You wait for him to get a little bit in his mind, and then and then fuck with it.
Mitch will get flavors right away. You're chewing the gum Pfeffernusse.
You're supposed to put a whole one in your mouth and try and talk.
God, I want to do that movie thing where you take like a nibble and put it down.
Yeah. Okay, you know what I got both times? Pumpkin pie. No, I didn't have a whole cookie. I had a half a cookie, but 2 halves of cookie with OCD 5. I had pumpkin pie, which is not a bad thing at all. I'm going to have to, I'm going to Aldi this week again anyway, but I might have to get some more of that Pfeffernusse to have and put some in the freezer.
That might be the best way to use it. Just saying, it sounds like.
So it definitely doesn't start out pumpkin pie to me.
No, it's pumpkin pie finish.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what not initially, but the finish, it was like, I just had a bite of pumpkin pie. Yeah, Neil, same thing. Pumpkin pie spice. It makes sense knowing pumpkin pie, but
yeah, I wouldn't even say pumpkin pie spice. Like I would say pumpkin pie because like there's something in there that's not fruit and not vegetable.
Sounds
Or
like grainy,
whatever a
crusty note,
pumpkin
maybe.
is, but like there is a flavor in there that you're like, that's weird. But good. Yeah.
all right, I'm gonna try the absinthe. Absinthe.
Can you hear my little furry malort hole out there terrorizing the neighborhood?
Oh, I think it started from one in my neighborhood, and I think it caught to your neighborhood.
So that is the new insult in the house. Just FYI, is malort hole.
Well, if you want to travel down it, it can be a scary thing. So it can.
Careful,
Malort would taste with Pfeffernusse because it's got all that wormwood in it.
I gotta try it now. I don't know if I want to do that.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Maybe that's what I'll end.
Hold off.
I've had a lot.
Yeah.
Everything I've had tonight has been over 50%.
Nope.
I can start to get swishy soon. Start adding in all the different drinks and spirits. A lot of times you can stack, but some of them do.
Yeah, malort will
Good
overwhelm it.
reactions.
It definitely has to be the last thing, right?
This absinthe is very creamy black licorice, and so I'm having that always comes through on this with the pairing. I've had 3 cookies with it now.
Ugh.
It's overwhelming.
Yeah, well, never mind.
No, it's not bad. It's just it doesn't change it much.
Fair enough.
Huh.
Never end an evening with malort. That's true. I can see that. That's a good, kind of background standby.
Also, disagree.
Having the Pfeffernusse after having the drink of absinthe, that's more fun.
Well, you might have that coated in your mouth already, and then
Right. No, that was a better deal.
And Spencer, I'm sorry, I can't. I've had too many cookies already tonight. I can't have them. And that marzipan one, I'm not eating. Shortbread weird thing we had. I can't. Made a bad choice. That's my fault on that one.
Made poor choices.
Oh, marzipan and I are not apparently the greatest of friends, so we'll figure that out more. So
No ascot for you.
well, I said if I was getting one, I wanted it to be special. It can't just be the average ascot. It's got to be something.
That's why I made my own, Pat.
Yeah, well, I heard about that, and then I've been jealous ever since.
So I have a friend named Scott, and he famously, there's a picture of him where he's just making a surprise face that gets rehashed all the time in text messages. So I took his face and had it printed on a pattern on silk, and I made ascots for my friends. And so because his name's Scott, we called them ascots. So we went to go fishing, and he was one of the last ones to show up, and the rest of us were all wearing our ascots when he showed up. And his response, I sent the picture to his wife and his kids, and they all liked it, but his response was something like, "You guys are assholes." We all still have them. So
Isn't that just the male version of "I love you guys"?
exactly, it's all completely done out of love.
So, all right. Well, before we take off, what was your favorite pairing this evening between cookie and not like just the best one out of everything.
Favorite surprise was the absinthe with the Pfeffernusse for me. But favorite pairing was probably the cognac and the apricot filled gingerbread one.
I like that answer. I like that answer a lot. Mike, you have preferences?
The Lone Elm and the Jesus, Edel Marzipan Bowman Stam Nougat. That was my favorite before tonight. I think it's probably still my favorite, but my biggest surprise was OCD 5 and Pfeffernusse.
I can see that nice overwhelming note to it. I liked the MB Roll and Dark Fired with just the frosted gingerbread cookie. I thought that really had a neat layering of flavors. Also went good with the Pfeffernusse, but I like to dry fly with that one better. But I think, and that's tough though, because that chocolate covered apricot one was really good with the Cole Keegan. Really deliciously good with that. I'm gonna go. I'll go. You got, yeah. Damn it. And I think the Pfeffernusse was my favorite cookie. This is weird how this is like playing out in my head. This is awful.
I know I've talked about Pfeffernusse too much. If it was anything other than amazing, everybody would be like, Mitch, you're full of it. But I just really like them.
It is a good cookie, but I'm usually a chocolate one. The chocolate apricot with the unsmoked Keegan was really good. And then either the frosted or the Pfeffernusse, but the dark fired MB Roland was really neat.
I think it would be interesting to do this again, where we had agreed upon whiskeys and then said, now go find cookies that pair with these whiskeys, and do one that way. So then that way you'd have something. You'd have a common thing at least amongst everybody. You have the same whiskeys. Now go find something out of there that you think pairs with these whiskeys.
You have to go to someone's town. Like we go to Louisville and stop at 2 or 3 bakeries and like come to an agreement upon what cookies do you.
Or go to somebody's holiday cookie baking.
Oh well,
whiskey, and
that's true too. Hide in the back.
Yeah, I haven't done one. I went to one a couple years ago. I got invited. I was the only man. It was 3 divorced women and and this one lady who she was married, and then me. The cookie baking, and I brought Manhattans. Like they're drinking wine and whatever. It's like, nah, I have a big thing of Manhattans. I'm good. And we made cookies, but Manhattans paired really well with making cookies.
That.
You gotta have a little something to make it a little to take the edge off making all that stuff. If you're doing it usually when you're making cookies like that, it's not just like an hour or two. It's like half a day or a whole day.
Oh, Well, I made my dough ahead of time and brought it there, so then that way it wasn't as much of a deal. And they're all very nice. I mean, they're friends. They're all very, very nice people. But they were there longer, and they were doing the stuff from scratch and drinking the wine and having fun. And I was like, I was definitely the odd man out.
Well, that's fair. But I am going to hop off here in a minute because I have a few things I still have to do and get ready for Christmas next Monday, which I don't think we'll have a show on Monday. I don't think that's a good idea. I don't think that's a great idea. But I will talk to you guys, and maybe we'll slip in a show next week. I have to get one sample out to Mitch. Maybe a couple of things that we haven't had this year that can screw up whiskey of the year categories and just categories in general. I know, like Mike, you might have had one or two. And
I sent you guys a couple because we need to talk about our categories because I think it's we adjusted, I think, pretty well last year as far as how we did stuff. Because
I'm just saying, I want to throw a couple. I want to see what you guys think of the Master of Multiverse, and there's some of David's picks, and some other things here. That OCD I haven't had. I want to get that in, just because.
yeah,
You know what I mean? There's some things here that might take me another week to readjust my decisions, or my whole thinking about it in general. So
yeah, I agree.
Kevin did that to me. What? It's the oh God, Buzzard's Roost cigar blend. I think it was that one year. It's like right before I was making it out, I'm like, oh, you just fucked up the system, you ass. And I was like, go back, and I was like, no, it really is that good. That's what I wanted to know.
Yeah, Buzzard Roots is good stuff.
So, all right. Well, you won't see us beforehand, so have a Merry Christmas. I hope
Yes.
it all goes well. Have a safe travels to wherever you're going. Enjoy the time. And, you never know. Maybe one or two of us will pop on randomly, but no planned show. Just enjoy some time with your family and loved ones. And, oh, speaking of that, Mitch, your fucking Christmas card was awesome. That was a good
Thank my
Christmas
girlfriend. She is good at that.
Yeah, well, Morgan, good on you, because that was a really good Christmas card. I don't get very decent ones anymore. That was actually worth it. Very true. So I think I'm going back to an MB Rolling Dark Fire is what's in front of me, because there's like 5 to 8 glasses. So I'm going to pick one before we leave here. I'm going with this one. Cheers to the both of you. I hope you two have a good Christmas, as well as everyone else out there in our viewership land. So
Yes.
remember, it's not the size of the den that matters, it's the love of whiskey. Cheers, everyone.
Cheers.
Cheers.